Altergeists in my Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, it's more likely than you think. So basically last week I got a bunch of messages, a bunch of comments about that Altergeists have been added into Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, and I didn't know what to expect, and when I saw which Altergeist cards they added, I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense, because many of the Altergeist cards, even without using the extra deck, are probably too strong for Duel Links. And I mean, I don't know a ton about Duel Links right now in terms of their meta, but I do know that cards like Molaseek and Multifaker and Silk are all very, very strong, even without using the extra deck. So even though there are no Link monsters in Duel Links, I figured that those cards would be a little bit too good for the game, but I thought maybe they would add like Manifestation or Protocol and maybe just Molaseek and none of the other cards, but the ones that they chose to add are pretty bad. But I want to look at them in today's video and go through what I think about them being added into Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I'm mainly doing this because like every single time I've live streamed over the past week, like all of the comments are just like, do you know that Altergeists are in Duel Links? And the answer is yes, I do, and no, I do not think they are very good. But basically we'll take a look here. This was all added with the new Witch's Sorcery pack, which I believe was released last week. I guess there's a sale going on right now. And yeah, these cards are they're not very hard to pull. That's the good news. I think Marionetter is a super rare, and then all the other ones are like lower than a rare. So you have Marionetter, you have the Synchro Monster, you have the Tuner, and a couple of traps. But yeah, this is a pack that you pull them out of if you guys are interested in building Altergeist. And like I said, even though I don't know a ton about the Duel Links metagame, I do know that just on paper these cards are not very good. We actually played with like a weird Altergeist deck list last night on the live stream, and even though I wasn't playing it super competitively, I think it was pretty easy to figure out that no, these cards are just not fast enough or good enough to actually keep up with any of the other powerful Duel Links decks, not even really on a rogue level. There just really isn't a win condition. So as you can see here, there are 5 different Altergeist cards in Duel Links right now, and we're going to take a look, go one by one, and sort of talk about my experiences with all of these cards, and talk about if they could actually be playable. So the very first one, and probably the only like good card out of all of these, is Altergeist Marionetter, the classic 3 of in every single Altergeist deck. Here's the thing though, even though Marionetter is one of the better Altergeist cards just in general, I mean it's definitely a staple 3 of in every single Altergeist deck, in this game, I mean it's not really that good, and I'm going to explain that. Basically, search cards, which while it doesn't directly search, I mean it does deal with special summoning something from the graveyard, it does deal with setting trap cards. Cards like this are only as good as what they can bring back from the graveyard or what they can set from the deck with their on-summon abilities. So in something like the TCG, Marionetter is so strong because it can set Protocol or Manifestation, or it can revive Molaseek or Multifaker. In this game, because you don't have any of those cards, I'm not even sure if this card is a good Altergeist card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I mean this card is only as good as what it can actually set and what it can actually summon, and in the context of Duel Links, that's not really that much. So would you play 3 copies of this card if you were actually crazy enough to build Altergeist in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links? I mean certainly you would, because it's still like your only good card, but in comparison to the TCG, Marionetter in Duel Links is a lot more lackluster. The other new monster card that they added to the main deck is the Tuner Monster, a card that has never seen play in the TCG at all, but that doesn't necessarily mean just in and of itself that it's bad in Duel Links. Plenty of cards that didn't see play in the TCG are good in this game. Let's take a look at what it does. Monsters your opponent controls cannot target Altergeist monsters you control for attacks, except this monster or other monsters with the same name. Also, your opponent cannot target Altergeist monsters you control with card effects, except this monster. That's not very good. It's like a slightly better version of Decoy Roid, a card that's also not very good, and yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense here. I mean, this card has not seen any play in the TCG because not only is this thing not very powerful, I mean neither of those effects actually really matter, but also the synchro that it summons, which we'll look at in a second tier, is not very worth it either. The reason that they have this card in here is because the synchro is a level 6 monster, and now you have a Marionetter and this, which makes a level 6 synchro, or you can also use the trap monster that they included as well. So the synchro monster, just for context here, is a level 6 generic synchro monster, so I suppose you don't even really need to play these cards. Maybe you don't even want to play the Altergeist tuner. Maybe there's other better tuners in this game. I know there are good tuners in here. I mean, we see Plague Splitter Zombie right here. I'm not sure if you'd actually play that in your Altergeist deck, but I know there probably are better tuners than the Altergeist tuner. The reason that this card even had a little bit of utility in the TCG, like in theory, I guess, was that you could summon it off of Multifaker, and and while that didn't actually get you to the level 6 synchro, it could set you up for like future plays. In this game though, without multi-faker, there's not like a huge reason to actually play the Altergeist tuner because the synchro is actually generic. Anyway, the synchro says, when an opponent special summon monster declares an attack, you can return one Altergeist monster you control to the hand, negate that attack. Wow, broken. If this card is tributed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. I mean, yeah, there are things that can trigger this. I mean, enemy controller comes to mind. I mean, the last time I was playing, Econ was a very good card in Duel Links. I'm not so sure about any more, but it's just not worth it. I mean, summoning this card in the first place is already kind of a chore, and the fact that it doesn't have an immediate payoff, I mean, it's just really rough. You have to be able to summon this thing and also have another Altergeist card, and all that setup only gets you to one attack that's been negated. Yeah, it does not seem very strong. Actually, I think that adding Altergeist Conquery would have been an interesting addition to Duel Links. I know that Duel Links has more of an issue with stall decks than the TCG, but at least it would have given you like something to work towards. You would have had this setup where you had the synchro on board and the Conquery in hand. You could have blocked some attacks or whatever. I guess it would have been kind of cool. But anyway, the two trap cards that have been added into this game, you have Altergeist Camouflage. What the heck is this thing? I mean, I have considered this card in the TCG a couple times way back in the day, but never something that you actually wanted to play or set off of the Marionetter. This thing says, target one Altergeist monster you control, equip this card to it. Your opponent cannot target it for attacks, but it does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. Negate an opponent's monster effect that activates by targeting the equipped monster. If an Altergeist card or cards you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. I mean, it's kind of neat, but in the same way that Marionetter is only as good as what it's actually setting, Camouflage is only as good as what it's actually protecting, and what it's protecting in this game isn't really that valuable. We're protecting a vanilla Marionetter on the field or some bad synchro. So while Altergeist Camouflage is a cool card to have and might be interesting in some situations, generally speaking, I do not think it is very good in Duel Links. I could be wrong, but it looked like from what I could find on the live stream that I was playing yesterday that most of my fans that are Duel Links players were saying that Altergeists are in fact pretty bad right now in the game. So I'm glad that I was correct on my sort of analysis of these cards. Anyway, the very last card is the Trap Monster. There's not much to say with this card. It special summons itself as a level 4 light spellcaster monster with 1400 attack points and 1800 defense points. If summoned this way while in the monster zone, other Altergeist traps you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Also, neither player can target them with card effects either. Now here's the thing about this card. In the TCG, I actually have played it before, so you might be saying, well, it's pretty good. Well, it's a lot better in the TCG for a few reasons. First off, the main reason that you play this in the TCG is to protect your protocol and manifestation from being destroyed by back row removal. However, neither of those two cards are in this game, so this card doesn't really have that much to protect besides the Camouflage that you might have equipped to a monster, and that's kind of weird as well because Camouflage mostly wants to be in the graveyard anyway, so you don't really care about protecting it. The other reason this card was played in the TCG was to make Hextia a lot easier in some cases, but once again, that card is not in this game. Link monsters are not in Duel Links, obviously, so Hextia is not in this game at all. As weird as it sounds, I think that if you are playing Altergeist right now, if you're somebody that's crazy and wants to play the deck for some weird reason, I think that Marionetter and this Trap Monster are actually the biggest selling points of the strategy. I'm not even sure if it's worth playing the Tuner, the Synchro, and the Camouflage. I suppose you could play those cards, but basically what I'm talking about here is that the main version of this deck that we played on stream, and we just built like a casual version, we weren't really trying that hard. We're like rookie rank 1 because we haven't played in a lot of months here, but from what I can tell, the way to play Altergeist in Duel Links, if you're crazy enough to do that, is to play them with trap monsters like Statue of Anguish Pattern, like these other cards that I have. Well, not like this one, not Don't Play Machine King 3000 BC, that card's terrible, but yeah, you have the Statue of Anguish Pattern which can pop cards, you have the Cyber Shadow Garna which can repeatedly special summon itself, you have the two Tiki cards I think are both in this game, you have I think there's Swamp Mirror or whatever, and what's cool about playing this type of deck in Duel Links is that it actually uses the OCG ruling for trap monsters right now, which means that they don't take up spots in your back row once you special summon them, unlike the TCG right now, so that's kind of cool, I guess. The main problem with this strategy, as I have found, is that you can't really do anything with the Statue of Anguish Pattern. Even if you have like two of them on the board, which in the TCG would be great, in this game not so much because there's 0 attack monsters and you can't really use them for anything. I know when I played this deck in the TCG, I was using rank 7 monsters like Draco Sack and Big Guy and stuff like that, In this game though, they just kind of sit there and you can't really use them for anything. In general, I just don't see an Altergeist deck working in Duel Links, even with my very limited knowledge about how the game actually works right now and what the meta cards are. It just doesn't seem like Altergeists have any chance of competing, because these days at least the Duel Links decks are a lot faster, a lot more consistent than the last time that I was playing this game, like seriously playing it competitively. I think trying to play a deck like this, even in a more casual sense, just doesn't make a lot of sense. Is it exciting for Altergeist to be in Duel Links? I guess. I mean, as an Altergeist fan, it's cool to see Altergeist in this game as well, but am I gonna suddenly start playing Duel Links a whole bunch just to play my Altergeist cards? No, because I don't want to play the dumb tuner monster in Camouflage. I want to play Multifaker and Mullaseek, which probably shouldn't be in this game, but still, that's why I like Altergeist. I don't really like these cards too much, besides the Marionetter. So no, I'm not just gonna randomly start playing Duel Links every single day just to play this really weak Altergeist deck. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.